from the edge.
Can you
Hey.
believe that hilarious thing that just happened?
Oh my gosh. Live from the edge. It just happened.
So fun. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for joining us. Everything's like thrown off because of the time wobbly things. Hey,
Time
everyone.
rift.
Time rift. You know, everything sounds better if you put the word time before it.
Except for tsunami.
Time tsunami. Exactly. Hi, welcome everyone to Live from the Edge. We're just getting things started here. I'm Bruce Gibson. Thank you for joining us. We are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery as we do each time a new episode of Discovery comes out. And this time we're talking about episode 7 of season 2, Light and Shadows. And with me, like she always is live, is Brandi Jackola. How you doing?
Oh, I just got back from the future.
Well,
it's not good.
Well, I'm so sorry. It's not good?
But right now it's great. So let's enjoy it while we got it.
Well, yeah, because we have a guest with us who hasn't been on the show before. So he doesn't know what he's in for.
Oh, he's listened to it and watched it. He knows.
Shashank Avvaru, yes, from Polytrex. How you doing?
Namaste, Homo sapiens. I am Time Shashank. It's wonderful to meet all of you. But thanks for recording this episode. It was a fun episode. I'm glad I got to be part of this hour-long thing where we talked about light and shadows. And now I'm about to head out. So bye. That was a great episode to record.
It was so great having you on the show.
Yeah, you're our favorite now.
Isn't that what just happened? Because of the time rift, I already recorded, and now you're about to record with my. It's crazy.
You did a great recording, I must tell you.
It was perfect.
It was wonderful. And Brandi said the future was not looking good.
Well, you had me on the episode, so you know.
Yeah, I didn't mean this immediate future, but like 500 years from now. No.
But good. In all sincerity, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to record this with you guys. And hi to everyone on the live chat.
Yeah, they're excited to have you on here. I can tell that. Even Amy Nelson is excited.
Yay, Amy!
And Justin Ozer says you look mysterious.
Amy's on the... Hi, Amy!
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on in the chat right now. Even Dave says time poop. Okay.
Gotta say, it sounds better than regular poop.
Yeah.
Putting time in front of poop really helps out a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, leave it to my husband to bring poop into it. I love you, baby.
By the way, Time Tsunami sounds like a really cool soundscape from like an 80s band that just made one record and the hit single was Time Tsunami. It was just weird sounds, just a labyrinth of sounds.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Let's form a band and name it Time Tsunami, because honestly, the closer we get to the anomaly, it's time exists all in once. It's past, present, future all together. So.
And of course, we all change our names. I'm going to be Time Poop.
Okay. Throughout the show, you'll be referred to as. No, we're not going to do that. Okay. So let me. So speaking of time, past, present, and future. Did you notice in this latest episode, this present episode, we didn't have any past, meaning there was no previously on at the beginning?
I did notice that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why that is.
Because time.
Well, from a writing standpoint, there are people who might jump in sometimes in a show on the midpoint to see what's going on. And if you think about this episode as its own, you really don't need to know a whole lot about what's going on. Because everybody knows who Spock is. Everybody, more or less at this point, knows that there's a ship called Discovery and there are people on it and there's a captain. If the A story is they're caught in a time loop, which is very much a standard Star Trek story, right? Like a TOS, TNG story. And then you have the B story of, Spock is missing. And one member who's the sister has gone to search for him. You kind of can catch on. So maybe it's just me. That's just a midpoint thing I think sometimes TV shows do with.
Well, maybe I wonder if they feel like you don't really need to know that much, like you're saying. Or maybe they think that, well, people are watching all the previous episodes. Maybe they're getting rid of the previously on stuff. Maybe this is the last time they're going to do it. I don't know.
I don't really care about the previously on
I
thing.
don't either.
Because it's only been a week, and I will have watched the previous episode at least 2 to 5 times in that previous week. I don't need a recap. I'm not watching Dragon Ball Z where I need a recap of what happened 5 minutes before it happened. So, yeah, no.
It would have been great to keep with the time riff theme and show previously on at the end of the episode.
Oh, perfect. That would have been great.
That would have been a nice little nod.
But can you just imagine social media? Everybody's like, oh, they're so stupid. They screwed up. They put it at the end of the episode instead of the beginning. And we'd have to be like, you don't understand. That was on purpose. No, they just screwed it up.
And then you have the showrunners.
Canceled. #STD.
And even if the showrunners, go on Facebook Live and say, no, we did it deliberately. It was, it was a joke. People would still just be like, oh, yeah, you're saying that. No.
Mm-hmm.
People.
Well, okay. Well, we don't do it previously on Live from the Edge. So, so Discovery doesn't need to do that. And based on what the chat is saying, they don't really care either.
Yep. Yeah.
So speaking of caring, the Red Angel does care. The Red Angel cares. Now, okay, I'm going to say something. So far in season 2, I have really loved every episode. This episode, I didn't love as much as others because from the very beginning, I was just a little put off how conveniently they know that the Red Angel is from the future because it has advanced technology they've never seen. The galaxy is big. There is advanced technology around the galaxy. It doesn't all have to be from the future. Did that bother anyone?
I don't think it has to do with them talking about the angel being from the future as because of the technology. Because honestly, New Eden, that angel was from the past. So there is obviously time stuff going on here. The readings after the Red Angel had appeared showed time distortions. So they're not just saying this because they saw a Red Angel with a technologically advanced suit. They're going from previous evidence as well.
Okay.
If you don't mind me throwing my craziness at these theories that have been going on about the Red Angel, have people talked about the possibility of there being multiple Red Angels? That everybody is maybe seeing a different Red Angel?
I wouldn't be surprised at that, actually. So
I haven't heard anybody say it, but
I don't think anyone has really discussed
writing my Twitter post right now. See you guys.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because when the season started, I had assumed there was multiple angels. I thought there was like an angel where each red thing was. Like it was a different angel. And it wasn't until as the season was going and I was assuming now the way they were talking that was maybe just one. But yeah, it very well could be multiple angels from the future, which sounds really funny.
Or
it would be interesting. Yeah, or the past. It would be interesting to see, maybe do a screen grab of all of these angels to see if they're the same or if there are subtle differences. We could all go back to middle school and look at our 2 pictures and go, what's the difference between picture A and picture B and picture C? But I do think, because at this point, based on the fact that this angel can be in the past or in the present or in the future, it's clearly not most of the things that people are theorizing about, right? Like it could be, a character that's human or humanoid that's mortal. That removes a lot of the crew and a lot of the main cast that we've seen. But that whole, with this entire episode could be about the Red Angels. I'm going to shut up now.
No. Well, okay. And I saw this in the chat too, but didn't this also make you think of the Temporal Cold War and Enterprise? I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's like, the future is messing with the present.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much, it was a lot of season 1 of Enterprise up to a point, and then they kind of forgot about it, and then they brought it back later. It's just like, we were doing that thing. Oh, what was that thing? So, but yeah, it was always fun when Crewman Daniels showed up and had some other dire warning or problem for them to fix, etc. But it did make me think of that. But again, it was a different kind of technology, because this Red Angel can pop in and out of time and space at will. And for that reason, it could still be only one angel and still have all of those 7 signals appear at once, because wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Also, another theory, not about the actual identity, but of the Red Angel itself, is if the Red Angel can travel to different places without really in need of another ship, or say, something else to aid it that we don't know, is the suit what it's using to time travel?
That's my opinion, because when we see the Red Angel on Kaminar, it's got these, what looks like its wings spread out.
Right.
And right before it disappears, those wings start retracting and pulling back in towards the suit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they definitely have something to do with how the Red Angel travels. Because they don't just stay in one place. They start, it's like, oh, we're going, so contract these. I don't know. I heard, and I want to say it was definitely on the Edge main show for the last episode with Amy Nelson and Christopher D. Littlefield, talking about how it's possible that is a tether to anchor them into place so that they can appear for an amount of time, do what they need to do, and then bug out. So time wings. Yeah, Dave, time wings. Dave says time wings.
It sounds so much better with time.
Yeah, with time in front of it. Yes, good job.
I'm now craving some buffalo wings at this time. Well, okay, so let me, as you're talking about, yes, I also thought, it seems to me as if the suit is this thing that helps it travel through time or do whatever it's doing. But here's the thing. So why, if this angel is going and helping out in these different situations, why appear in front of someone and just kind of float there for a couple seconds and then disappear? Are they trying to get them to follow it, or like why just go, here I am, bye everybody? Like, it's not doing anything but just showing itself to Burnham and showing itself to Spock and showing itself to Saru. Why?
We don't know, because we don't.
I mean, it reminds me of a guy like in Central Park opening his coat and, it's like, why?
Ew.
Well, he's just exhibiting himself like, here I am, and then leaves.
Or what I call Saturday night.
Well, I don't know how to explain everything, because we don't know what this thing is. We just
I know, that's why we're like talking about it. We like to speculate, right?
So if it had a purpose for being very visible in the place where it was very visible to Saru. Now, when Michael saw it, she thought she was hallucinating because she was in a lot of pain. She'd recently been unconscious, and she saw a hazy form. And then suddenly Captain Pike is coming at her to rescue her. So and then in the soldier's camera, we only see like a quick shot of it from a distance, and we don't see anything else. So every other time we've seen it, it's been, someone who wasn't completely cognizant of what was going on. And then this time it showed itself fully, as if to say, yeah, I did this. I'll be back.
It's like, give me credit. Remember, it wasn't you that did this. It was me, the angel.
Of mercy or death?
Well, Justin Ozer says maybe it's like their way of trying to communicate. Maybe it is like it can't communicate and it's trying to, and it can't, and it gets pulled out or something too,
Yeah.
I'm going back to the actual episode though, and responding to your point about, not really liking the episode. I actually like the episode a whole lot. Like,
it's not that I don't like the episode. It's just that put me off more than anything else this season.
It's definitely one of the more cinematic episodes. Like, as I was saying earlier, I feel like it's the plot points are very straightforward. There is, like I said, an A story, B story. There is character needs to go to this here and character needs to go to this here. And it's a for a time rift episode, the story itself is very straightforward. Mike Burnham goes to Spock, and Spock and Burnham end up where they end up. And Pike and Tyler, by the way, awesome bromance. I don't know if you guys are digging it, but I'm taking that bromance. them swinging the badge against each other. Just from now on, when I walk into a party, I'm just going to say, "Hey, share out Tranks the badge,"
You're just gonna
and
toss
just
your
walk
badge.
away. Whatever I have in mind, I'll just toss it, and I'll go share out Tranks the badge, and just walk away.
Okay, I'm gonna wait to see you do that STLV next year.
Yeah, and I really like the opening of the episode. It was a very fun, cheery opening. I felt like the vibes of Michael and Georgiou, like Prime Georgiou, were coming back a little bit in their conversations about, "You've already packed your bag, haven't you?" "Of course not, Captain." And you see in the first scene, she's actually packing her bag.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't do that without your permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
And it was definitely one of the more cheerier, more jump into the story episodes that I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree with that. What, Brandi? What?
I was just gonna say, I just didn't feel the same way. I didn't feel put off by anything. I was actually pretty much at the edge of my seat shouting at the TV for most of it. So, because I was home alone.
At the TV.
I do. Especially if I'm alone. So, because Dave was at an improv class, and so I was watching it by myself on Thursday night. And so I'm just like, oh no, don't you trust him? Do not trust him. Because let's get into the actual plot of this and the two different stories that were going on. So we've got Discovery staying behind at Kaminar to study this anomaly that soon makes itself apparent that it's a big fat time rift, and they're trying to send a probe into it. They can't lock on, so suddenly Pike decides he's going to take out a shuttle and do it, and Tyler's immediately like, no. That goes with him. Just kind of force. Pike doesn't invite him. Just goes with him. He doesn't care. He's like, he's just decided, I'm watching you, buddy. So they go off to do that. And meanwhile, Michael's left the ship. She's gone to Vulcan, which, oh my goodness, was that not a pretty shot of her coming into Vulcan?
Oh yeah. And you see the reflection of her little ship going through on the buildings.
Yes. It was so pretty.
I also like for the few moments we got to see Vulcan. It's a great evolution of the I forget what they're called, the matte paintings that we saw.
Yeah.
In TOS and TNG of Vulcan. It's like there's a skyline, you see a building, and then you see another building, and just greenery everywhere. And it was a great evolution of that. It's like seeing that come to life was pretty cool.
Yes, I really enjoyed that whole sequence. Even her landing at Mom and Dad's house, and just
I didn't know they had a little landing pad at their house. That was cool. I never knew that.
It would make sense.
He's an ambassador,
he's an ambassador, so he would want to have a place.
Little stairs going up to their house from it. That's really awesome. I want one of those.
Right.
By the way, guys, speaking of parallels, something I noticed, maybe I'm stretching. When you see the story of the Discovery part of the episode, they're in an actual time rift, being forced to go back in past and present and future. And in the B story, they're going back in an emotional time rift by thinking about things in the past over and over. And at the Alice in Wonderland story about them going back as kids. I thought that was pretty cool that there was an actual time rift and an emotional time rift for the characters.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about that. Yes.
I did.
It's story time. Yeah. Well, of course you did. You were yelling at the TV.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, I like that. Actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, I think I did write something down about it fluctuating. Or maybe I'm confusing that with a novel I just read. I have too much Star Trek in my life. I get it confused.
Yeah. How dare you? How dare you say you have too much Star Trek?
Too much. It's not too much. It's never enough. It's never enough. So let's go back to Vulcan, though. I did like those scenes and the flashbacks, because in the flashbacks we saw earlier this season, where we saw young Burnham and Spock, he was like shutting her out and had the like dragon thing flying at her, like he didn't like her. But now this time we're seeing him smile when he's with her, when he was a young lad.
Yes. Well, and to be fair, we were getting his reactions from the first time that she came to the house, for the most part, in that previous episode. And this time we got to see more context, especially for when Spock is watching Amanda read to Michael Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. And so it's and as I felt like at that point that he was jealous, and I think that is still what was going on in his mind, because he wanted to be the one there that she was reading to again.
See,
and she couldn't do that anymore.
That's what I thought too, but I had to do another analysis episode for episode 1, so I watched that a few times. If you actually go back to the same scene in episode 1, as the end where they're sitting by the candles and she's reading Alice to Michael, you see Spock come in. Right before the scene cuts, he smiles when he looks at them, almost like it's my mom and my sister sitting in. So yeah, the complexity, I guess, the layers of the relationship, they're slowly laying all that down. But this is correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first episode where we have Spock for the full episode, right? Like in Discovery?
Yes.
So Spock has returned. I have come up with some terms. Tell me what you think. Spock Nizons. It's the Spock Nizons. Or Respock Ruction, a play on resurrection, or this is just shameless, the Spock Easter. What do you guys think?
Well, again, something I hadn't considered.
Yeah. But it was an
Time Spock, yeah. Dave says
the Time Spock. Yeah. Time Spock is here. And maybe the most interesting thing about Spock from this episode, he's dyslexic.
Yes.
I did not know that.
No, I don't think any of us knew that.
Yeah.
That is, that is, I think, a real win for people with learning disabilities who love Star Trek, because it's been made to seem like those kind of defects don't exist in the future. And it's not a defect so much as just part of the way a person is born and something to learn about. And so I love that they put that in there. I love that he is still as brilliant as he is, even though he has to think a bit harder about what he's writing, what he's reading, etc., because it appears as a mirror image to him.
And I work in education, so I'm sure Amy Nelson is going crazy in the chat about how awesome it is that we have a dyslexic character, because that's such a great representation of students that we have. But I also really liked, within the few scenes we got, about the argument between Amanda and Sarek, because it's the nature versus nurture argument. It's the mom saying, he's my child, I need to help him. And it's the father saying, no, it should be remedied at the learning center. That is such a good argument about what needs to be, how individuals deal with the learning disability, as people call it.
Yeah,
but
and
it's great.
She feels like it's her responsibility also, because she feels guilt, because she says he gets that from his human side. It's coming from her, that she's the one who passed that on to him. It's the human side of things. So she has this feeling it's her responsibility to take care of him, where the Vulcans aren't really going to understand how to deal with a hybrid human Vulcan child in this situation. She's going to be better suited to help him through this.
Right. Guilt is illogical.
Yeah, and she's using emotions and love in her decision making, which is also logical.
Agree.
Actually, I think she's more logical than Sarek at this point, honestly.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that.
I also liked when you go. I have some, not really reservations, but I have some minor concerns about just Tilly as a character. I think Tilly's great, but sometimes they overdo it with the comedy. Like in episode 1 was a good example of how they overdid with comedy by making her say a joke every time she's on screen. This time they dialed it back. And so the 1 or 2 jokes she made really landed. It's like she says freak and she goes, oh no, Captain, you know how I get.
Right.
When there are causations in volatility in causation. So she says something like that. But I think the humor worked for me from Tilly's perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was toned down compared to some other episodes that we've had. But I did like the whole, freaking and frack thing, because there was a lot of criticism of her saying the real curse word, in season 1, and people are freaking out. Oh, you can't say that in Star Trek. And so I felt it was kind of like a wink to the audience of saying, Tilly's almost saying, hey, I know you didn't like me cursing, audience, so I'm not.
That's a clever way of doing it.
I personally loved Tilly cursing because it's something I would have done in the same situation.
Sure.
When you're yelling at the TV.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, there was some serious yelling at the TV. And do we want to go into why I was yelling at the TV?
I would love to know, but before you say that real quick, Amy says, trust the math. I'm just.
Yes, of course. I knew that Amy would love that. Trust the math.
Okay, so why are you yelling at the TV?
Because when Sarek says that Michael has to take Spock to Section 31, and she does that. And, you know, I'm immediately going, nope. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust them. You can't. And so, you know, then they bring out, they're showing that machine and I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell no. Do not leave Spock alone there, please, for the love of all that's holy. They're going to destroy his little brain. And I'm just screaming this at the television. I had the subtitles on. I knew what was happening. I can read and scream at the same time, people.
And then Giorgio gets like so scared of you, Brandi, that she's like, oh my gosh, I'm actually scared of Brandi. I'm going to help Michael help save Spock. That explains why she showed her good side.
No, I really loved that interaction between Michael and Giorgio because
I did too, yeah.
Michael says, oh, and you're doing this for, out of the goodness of your heart. And she says, no, out of the goodness of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, she does get Michael. She really does.
Yeah, she says she knows her better than she thinks.
Yes.
One of my favorite moments of the episode is when Giorgio shoots at Michael. And then it goes through a short, and then Giorgio goes, eh? It was a very Kelvin Trek movie moment. Yeah. It's something that would have happened in the Kelvin Trek movies.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of that one episode where she looked at the baby?
Yes.
And just was like smiles. It's almost like we're getting little hints that she's actually nicer than what she lets on.
Oh, which makes me a soft side.
But that's the thing. I mean, she was an emperor in the mirror universe. I wonder if I'm just hoping we get more backstory on that she's maybe not as evil as she was portrayed. But then yet again, she was killing people. I don't know. Maybe she's just turning to the light side of the Force.
Hey.
I'm not supposed to cross. Wait, my shirt. I'm wearing the wrong shirt today, by the way. It says Star Wars on it. Sorry.
I have a Star Wars poster up there too. No, dude, I completely disagree. I hope they really pull at that thread of, oh, she's nice. Then she just kills someone, like a really one of the main characters, and then you go, what just happened? And then there's an entire season where she's the villain. I really hope that happens.
Well, it's like she's nice, but she's only nice because she was up to something.
Yeah.
Evil,
well,
yeah.
There's one thing that I know, and that is Giorgio is only doing things for Giorgio. That is all she is doing. Mm-hmm. Whatever she's doing, it's to serve herself.
Yep.
And she pretty much admits that to Michael because, you escape with Spock, Leland looks bad. That's good for me. So, and Dave and I talked about this when he watched it with me because he hadn't seen it yet. So we watched it together again before I came and did the live show. And he said, man, Sonequa gets to fight Michelle Yeoh. That is a huge honor. And I agree because Michelle Yeoh is a very seasoned action star. And that fight was so beautifully choreographed.
Can you imagine showing up to work? You're going to fight Michelle Yeoh today. You'd be like, oh, crap.
No, you would know you were in the best possible hands because she knows how to do it right.
She's not going to hurt you, right?
Yeah, she knows how to sell it. She can show you how to sell it. And they really sold that fight, in my opinion. I loved it.
And she's been fighting for so long, too. There are interviews of her where I think there was a big interview from one of the popular YouTube channels where it's an hour-long interview that came out just before season 2 started. And she talks about how she's now used to fighting so much, even when she gets hurt. Like apparently there was a movie she was doing where she broke a hand, and then just didn't tell anyone for the day and did the whole shoot that she was doing with that broken hand. And it was at the end of the day where she went and she got looked at. And the interviewer asked, well, why did you tell anyone? And she said, what will they do? A broken hand is a broken hand, but this scene needed to be shot. So when someone has that kind of commitment, you're in for a treat.
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
She's
cannot wait
queen.
for Section 31.
That's how we are on this show. I mean, I broke my hand on the last episode and didn't say a word.
Sure you did. Sure you did. So yeah, anyway, I was yelling at the screen during the whole Section 31 thing. And so when Jojo says, oh no, that's a memory extractor and it's going to destroy Spock's mind, I'm just like, yeah, I told you. So
you got it. So then Michael went and rescued him. But then were you yelling at the TV screen when we find out that Leland is responsible for Michael Burnham's parents' death?
That was more of a sort of moment for me. So it wasn't so much a yell, but it was just like, I hate you. So
this is dumb, but sometimes what they do is just to hype up a particular plot line. They'll say something like, oh, you're responsible for their death. And then you find out it's because they were captaining a ship or they were doing something that indirectly caused it to happen. So I'm kind of worried. I'm worried that that's what it's going to be. And because she didn't say you killed them, she said you're responsible for their death.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we don't know all that much about the attack that happened that killed Michael's parents. There were Klingons there. So I know that the actual Klingons are actually responsible for her parents being killed. But you got to wonder, how much did Section 31 have to do with that and why? Because they're doing shady things all the time.
Okay. So something just hit me while you were saying that. What if we find out in a later episode that Michael Burnham's parents are alive due to the Red Angel, that they never really died?
What if Michael Burnham's parents are the Red Angel? Oh my God.
Oh, here we go.
These theories. But Brandi, Bruce, I have to say something. Chair outranks the badge, you guys. It fits. I could say it at any time, and it would make no sense. Anyway, so somebody brought up. I think Brandi brought up memories. So I'm speaking of memories. We are half an hour, maybe a little over half an hour into the show. I'm going to say it. Talos 4.
I know. Now I have cried at every single episode so far this season, and this one I hadn't cried yet. And I cry for a myriad of reasons. It doesn't have to be something particularly sad or anything like that. But and I was waiting, I'm like, the computer is going to give me something big. I have no idea what it is. And then I was like, tell us. What? Yeah, that was pretty much my reaction. And I'm just like crying.
I remember. So I guess mine was somewhat similar, just because I just remember I was laying on the couch. I just had gone out to work. After work, we finished work early. We had a conference, and so we went out for drinks. So by the time I got home, I was still being a little loopy, and so I just had to lay down. Usually, I sit up when I watch Star Trek. I was laying down, and I'm just like laying there, and all of a sudden they said Talos 4. I'm like, no, they didn't. Wait, what? No, did they really say? And I sat up, and I'm just like, wait. What? Did they really? No. Wait, am I thinking of the right Talos 4? Maybe they're talking about a different Talos 4. It can't. I was just all over the board. I was so confused. Okay. Like I knew what it meant, but I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Bruce and Brandi, I have a few questions. I'm sure you guys are more of a Trek sport than I am, so I'm hoping you can answer them for me. With the limited knowledge I have, if I understand it correctly, in the cage, which is where Talos 4 first comes in.
Yes.
When Enterprise heads to Talos 4, nobody on that ship knows what Talos 4 is, right?
Right.
They're answering a distress call.
Yes.
So nobody, including Spock.
Right. In the cage, correct. Because the cage takes place before this episode.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. I got everything confused. I'm sorry, you guys. I was
but let me play off of that though, because then the menagerie, which is a flashback to the cage, if I remember correctly, the now Enterprise crew isn't familiar with Talos 4 because it's been locked under secret, just like you're saying. So now in this episode, which takes prior to the menagerie, so it's between the cage and the menagerie. In between that is this episode. So when she puts in the coordinates of 749 Mark 148, yes, I wrote it down. I don't know that by memory. The computer tells her it's Talos 4. So it's obviously in the Federation and Starfleet database. So even though it's a secret, it's not buried, because as soon as you put those coordinates in, it tells you the planet. And it didn't tell her that she's banned from going there, because I think after the cage, wasn't it, or we learned in the menagerie that no one is allowed to go to that planet. This is why I love having the chat, because they can weigh in on this and make sure we're saying things right.
What was Brandi saying? Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. I think that's a Doctor Who reference, right?
Yes.
Okay. The numbers, what are they? 741948?
It's 749148.
See, I'm a little dyslexic on the numbers. You know what's awesome is I think the whole episode, Spock was saying the numbers backwards, right?
Yes.
And they were talking about, they had both grown up reading Alice in Wonderland, a land where up is down and left is right. And I think that's how she figures it out, is that, the numbers are actually backwards. So even in that, even when Spock is literally a broken record, where he can't make sense of anything, he has the forethought to tell it to someone, because nobody else but Burnham and maybe Amanda, if she really sat down and thought about it, would have figured out, he's actually saying these numbers backwards.
And the minute she tells the computer to search for the numbers, he stops talking.
Yeah.
He's not muttering anymore. He's just sitting there because someone finally has understood.
Yeah.
And
so exciting. Such a good midpoint.
So Christopher Littlefield mentions, the first two numbers of that is 74, but if you reverse it, it's 47.
Ah.
That 47 that floats out there throughout Trek.
Wouldn't it be cool if we added up all the numbers? There would be 47 too, but they're not. I'm sure they're not.
I don't know. Let's see.
No, they won't. They wouldn't, but
yeah.
7.
Now I want to say that I feel like I'm going back to my
we're doing math on Live from the Edge, and Amy's so excited. She's like, "Trust the math, people."
The power of math.
Yeah.
Tell me the numbers again.
Oh my gosh. 749,148. They do not add up to 47.
No, but they add up to 33.
33. You know what that means?
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh no! Wait. Did you really add them up? Is it really 33, or did you just say that?
No, it's really 33.
Oh darn!
That's Battlestar Galactica, you guys.
I was hoping it added up to 31 for section.
That would be
31.
Nice. Yeah, that would be pretty good. But no, now it's confirmed. It's a crossover between Battlestar Galactica Discovery. So all those gatekeepers can relax. It's actually secretly a Battlestar Galactica show.
Now explain the 33 from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, the first episode of the BSG reboot is called 33, and it's considered one of the greatest episodes in television because the show takes the really cool approach to time travel, where people have to, where essentially it's the last of humans and they're being chased by these human-robot hybrids called Cylons that are about to destroy humans, and every 33 minutes they have to jump to different places in the universe so these Cylons cannot find them. And it got even more popular when The Last Jedi clearly just pulled that plot line, and they did it to where the big destroyer came but it couldn't shoot at the little ship because they had to. It's a whole thing. But 33, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry I took us on a tangent. I'm gonna stop talking about Battlestar Galactica.
No, it's good.
I'd like to have a conversation with you about Battlestar Galactica later. So.
Yeah, let's do it.
I love that show.
I love that show.
Fantastic show.
Amazing.
That's such a great frackin' show.
Yeah, she said frickin', okay? She said frickin'.
Yeah.
She said frickin', but later she said...
And there is 33. There you go. It's Battlestar Galactica. It's done. Confirmed.
It's all Battlestar.
We can make our own YouTube video now. Star Trek Discovery
great.
is Battlestar Galactica. Confirmed.
Excellent. Let's do it. Let's make the trolls insane. Let's do it.
Great. Well, you guys do that, and while you're doing that, I'll record an episode of Literary Treks that's here on the network.
Take a shot, everyone who's drinking.
Listen, the only reason I mention it is because the chat keeps mentioning they're waiting for me to say it once. So there it was.
Oh, well, I was going to do it if you didn't. So.
That's the official podcast of Star Trek Books and Comics here on the Trek FM network, Shashank. So, I know you love the comics. So
yeah, I have guested a few episodes of Reading Trek, which is the comic book / novel podcast that Marty hosts over on Tricorder Transmissions.
I never heard of it.
Oh wow, that's brutal, man. That's brutal.
I'm kidding. I listen to it all the time. I've heard you on there.
Where there is another delightful show that you can find me and Barry DeFord co-hosting called Polytrex.
That's true.
And it's just, are we done with the promos, or can we keep going? I can plug my.
We'll do more promos later. Okay, we'll do those later. We got to get back to this episode because I'll promote Star Wars Report later myself. So anyway, go on.
Taylor's Ford. That's crazy.
Okay, but the preview of next week, we see the aliens.
We see Telosians.
Yes.
I missed that party, guys. I have to go back and watch that.
Oh my gosh, you missed that?
It's really a short next time on, like really short comparatively to other, previews for the next episode. It's about half as long is what it seemed like to me, because I think there's just too much that that would be spoilery if they showed it. I'm surprised they showed the Telosians, but I think that most of us are like, oh, Talos 4. Yeah, Telosians.
They show real quick, like the 2 shots of them. They're, like you said, real quick. I don't think on Netflix in the other countries that they show those coming next time. So of course, anybody has gone online, sees in social media, but I don't think on Netflix they actually show the next time on Discovery.
Okay, people outside the United States who are in the chat, do they show the next time on Discovery on Netflix? Let us know.
Yeah, and I don't know if they do that like on Crave and Space in Canada either, but I've heard on Netflix they don't. Yeah, I'm waiting for the chat to confirm if anybody knows. But yes.
So Taylor's Ford. I'm sure there are already gatekeepers are going, oh, another rehash of a TOS thread. Oh, Discovery can't do anything original. But just be warned, that'll happen. You know what I really like, you guys? One thing is the format of the show, where you're not really following the actual captain. Well, you are, but the main character is not a captain. You can take liberty with the stories of Michael by telling an actual family story. Imagine telling a family story of Captain Picard where his brother is going insane and he has to go figure it out. They would never do that, because where the captain goes, the ship goes. But if it's someone who's not the captain who's going and doing it, like Michael, she could spend the rest of the season on Talos 4 or wherever and take care of her brother, and the nothing would break the plot thread. We would just be okay with it.
So that's it. So Captain Picard's brother, Robert, is the Red Angel.
It's Robert, for heaven's sake.
But I'm American. I'm not French.
So it doesn't mean that you can't pronounce the name right.
I don't even know how to pronounce your last name right, Brandi.
That's because there is no right.
Hey, Bruce, Brandi, share out Tranks the Badge, you guys.
Yep. Sorry.
I'm gonna keep doing that until it stops being funny. Okay, I get it. Hi, hey everyone, that's my dog. Yep.
Oh, he's so cute.
What's your dog's name?
Zod. General Zod.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
yeah. The Superman villain, because he loves destroying worlds.
Fair.
Like at this very moment, he's doing everything he can to make sure I don't record. So everybody on the live chat, I'm sure you guys are enjoying it.
See, this is why everybody needs to join the live show so you can see dogs. Maybe next week, because we've had cat. Brandi, your cat was in an episode.
Yes, he's been in a couple.
And he's just sitting there now. Like he's just sitting there and watching and going, I'm done eating. No, I'm going to bother you. You're going to take it.
You're not paying attention to him. He needs to have attention paid to him above all.
And yeah, guys, so I'll do my best to keep it on track for the episode. Were there any standout moments you guys had? Something that really stood out to you? I have a couple, but I'll let you guys go first.
Well, I will say, because one thing we haven't talked, I thought that probe thing from 500 years in the future being altered was really cool.
Oh, that scared me.
Will agree or disagree? The probe looks like the Matrix Ebenezer probe that jumps on the ship.
Yeah,
From the Matrix, you guys remember? It looks exactly like that probe.
It also looks like something out of a pulp comic from like the 50s or something to me too.
Yeah. I actually thought that too, but I didn't think it looked exactly alike. But it's tentacles, definitely.
Yeah, tentacles and geometrical shape in the center, and it's like it has that same force where it just jumps in, takes the ship on.
Yeah.
No voices, no sounds. That was interesting.
Yeah, I was because when they first ran into it, I thought that's the probe. What's going? Oh dear! Oh no! It's had an upgrade. So
and the probe was interesting too. But what's going on with Arium? What when the data breach comes back?
She got a virus, yo.
And is Arium going to be one of the evil bad guys? Is Arium the Red Angel? Confirmed. Star Trek Discovery.
It's possible.
I wondered that when that happened. I was like, does this mean Arium's going to be the Red Angel from the future? Which, by the way, the probe is from 500 years in the future, which makes me wonder if that's when the Red Angel is from 500 years.
Also, is the chat cool with me talking about comic book spoilers?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, if the chat is, I have some interesting info about Arium.
Oh, yes. Wait. Okay. Before you get into the spoiler, is it the comic that takes place in the Mirror Universe?
Mm-hmm. Started Discovery Succession.
Read it. Okay. Have it.
Okay. So, chat, are you okay if this issue came out? I guess what, last summer,
year, 2017. It started in 2017 as the actual.
Oh gosh, it has been that long.
Yeah, 2017, maybe close to early 2018. So it has been over a year.
Okay, it's not a spoiler anymore. If you don't want to hear it, everybody cover your ears.
And if you guys like the story, go to humblebundle.com right now. They're running a charity where for $15 you can buy all of the Star Trek comics.
Oh,
awesome. Welcome.
I got that because I have been wanting to read Boldly Go for so long, and now
I did the math, AMA Power of Math, and it's at least $300. All of the comics they're selling, and it's for $15. And they're supporting a really cool science charity. So go help them out. But okay, speaking of Star Trek Discovery Succession, if you read the comic, spoilers, at the end of the comic, Arium becomes the emperor of the Mirror Universe. She's the empress that sits at the end of the series, and she's essentially killed the Mirror Burnham, who we're supposed to believe is the lead of this entire series, and then she becomes the empress. So I don't know what they're trying. One of the cool things about Arium is a mystery, and so when this little tease happened at the end, that's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see where that goes.
So what connection do you see in this Arium to that of the Mirror Universe? Do you think?
Well, I think Arium in that Mirror Universe definitely has she's hungering for power, right? She's sitting through the entire series going, well, these people are not, because everything is in chaos, everything is in misery, and she takes advantage of that by making her way to the top slowly, like an assassin from Assassin's Creed. She goes and kills the right people silently and just goes and makes to the top, and then kills the Empress and becomes the Empress. So I'm wondering, because they've it's not really a foreshadow because it was done in the books, but there is so much to Arium that we don't know. She rarely speaks, and when she speaks, it's something that takes the plot forward, and it's not something that really tells us about the character. So when this data breach happened, again, from a technology that is corrupted by something from 500 years in the future, which we don't know much about the homeworld of Arium. We don't know a lot about this Arium. Why, by the way, nobody has explained why the previous Arium changed to the new Arium, like why there's an Arium 2.5. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, different actress.
So yeah, why did that happen? And there was no explanation, or maybe I missed it in the show.
No, they're not saying that it's a different Arium. Basically, it's a different actress playing Arium, but they made no mention of the change. It's still the Arium, just played by a different actress. My guess is that it was a makeup problem for the original actress, Sarah Middage.
Yeah. I'll take you guys' word for it, but I'm going to say chair outranks the badge, so I'm keeping those suspicions to myself.
I don't know. Maybe that's why we have different Savics too. Maybe
Yeah.
Well,
so
here's my thought about the whole Arium thing.
Good, because then I've got one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
maybe we match.
Okay. So the probe was trying to access their data core.
Right.
And that's when the red dots started happening and messed Arium up. So whatever, and the probe was not happy. The probe was not friendly. The probe was malicious and aggressive and was trying to kill them. So whatever happened to Arium, it ain't good. And it's going to pop up at the least opportune moment, in my guess.
Yeah, it could be like sorry, Bruce, I'll let you go. But with the breach seeing Arium and the 3 red things popping up again. By the way, I don't know if it's any connection to the red signals and the red angel, which seem to be a really big part of the plot point of the show. Yeah. And so red is what triggered it. I think in the 10 seconds where Saru is talking to her and she doesn't respond and then she responds, I think that technology has turned her evil, or whatever the version of evil is that is trying to overtake everything. So in that 10 seconds, she goes, oh yeah, everything's fine. And it's in that 10 seconds, I think it's like a little transformer jumping into like a big aeroplane and then taking over the aeroplane, and the aeroplane becomes evil. I think it's one of those deals.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So this has kind of changed my theory a little bit. So I think the probe was it's from 500 years in the future. And we were talking about the red angel and the red angel trying to communicate. That's why it's showing itself, but maybe it can't communicate and get whatever its message is to the Discovery crew. But from 500 years in the future, it sends the probe back to communicate with Discovery. And at the same time, maybe there's something with Tyler where we find out Tyler does something really bad and awful. And so the probe is actually trying to rid Tyler to protect the Discovery crew, but at the same time, relay a message in the data breach that gets to Arium to let Arium know what the Red Angel is there for and what it's trying to communicate to the crew.
Yeah, but when the probe attacked, it was attacking Captain Pike as well. It was going after Pike too. It wasn't just Tyler. In fact,
okay, well then forget what I just said.
Yeah, Pike even said, if it weren't for you, that thing would have sliced me in half.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why it would attack them. That is interesting. Maybe there's like somebody evil in the future that the Red Angel is fighting, and this is their way to try to get through that gateway to this time.
Well,
I don't know.
I kind of almost feel like it is... Oh, no, that was the Orville. I kind of feel like it was... I'm so sorry, guys. That it is a more mechanical race of beings, because I'm remembering from episode 1 where it's like coming up on this season of Discovery and somebody is saying it's trying to wipe out all, sentient life. But what if it's not trying to wipe out all sentient life, just all sentient biological life? And the Red Angel is trying to save. I don't know.
Isn't that kind of similar to Arium's motivation in the Succession comic book series? Where she's like, these are all biological beings, they're less intelligent. They don't know what they're doing. They'll just keep fighting. It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited. Speaking of comics, that at WonderCon, I believe they're going to announce the next set of comics. So I'm sure we'll hear about what we have coming in for season 2 and more. I'm sure there'll be a continuation to that Mirror Universe series. But yeah, any other standard moments you guys have? One I really liked. It was a small moment, but it was Sarek saying, you violated my authority to Amanda. And she goes, I don't live by your authority. I'm your wife. I'm your partner. Try again, husband. Like that was such a good, it's good to know there is that relationship. These are all really brilliant people. All 4 of them in their own right. And yet the relationships are so broken. They're so sensitive that they have these great professional lives, but in their personal life, they have to keep working at it. These are people who have been married for probably decades, and yet they simply just can't seem to, they still have issues. It's not like a husband and wife who, oh yeah, you say this, I say that, let's go. It's a very tumultuous relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's more so than I ever figured for Sarek and Amanda from past stuff.
Yeah, but I like that dynamic because it can't have all been perfect. There's no way it could all have been perfect. So I actually like seeing that. And it's not like they're having a knockdown, drag out fight because, Sarek would never stoop so low in his mind. So I appreciated the fact that they were having this struggle. And she says to him, he's like, well, if I wanted that, I would have married a Vulcan. And she says, oh, really? Would you have left Vulcan for me? And he doesn't say anything. And she's like, uh-huh. So, yeah, there's she has more power with him than he gives her credit for. And she took him by surprise. And I actually kind of enjoyed that. She's like, you go, girl. But
I have a feeling we're going to hear that phrase, try again, husband, in at least in my daily life from my wife now.
Barry and I are recording Polytrex tomorrow. I'm just going to say to him.
I love it. So
I know we're winding down. What did you guys think of Ethan Peck? That's his name, right? Ethan Peck?
Yes, Ethan Peck and
What did you guys
Spock.
think of his performance? I loved it. It's the most human Spock I've ever seen.
It is. I really did enjoy. I mean, I can't wait till we see him as more a normal Spock instead of this Spock. But yeah, I mean, so far from what I've seen, and just the way he moves his body and he would stand, it was very Spock-like.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved it. I'm excited to see more. I want to see more when his mind is not broken or seeming to be broken, because he kept muttering the numbers and the stuff that he was carving into the wall, and he kept muttering the first doctrines of logic, and Amanda said he was trying to ground himself. So, and I don't necessarily know if that was true or not, because we honestly don't know what he was doing. She was making an assumption because he's not communicating with anyone, at least not anyone who can understand, until Michael gets there.
He's not there at all. He's physically there, but mentally he's just not. He's not there.
I think he was more there than he appeared to be, but he was kind of locked in. He was just trying to hold on to something so that he could communicate what he needed to do, which was apparently to go to Talos 4. So, but what a standout moment for me was actually when Michael first sees Spock. And once again, Sonequa, queen of the amazing facial expressions and all of the emotions that pass over her face in just a few seconds. It was just like,
oh yeah, exactly. I love that you brought that up. In those 10 seconds where she's sitting next to him, she cries, immediately becomes her Vulcan form again. She lays down on him, starts crying, and then you can see it cuts to her going, just nothing on her face. And then she's back to her Vulcan. She's so good.
Yeah, I just really appreciate her expressiveness, because in season 1, she was still battling to find that balance between her human side and her Vulcan upbringing. And now she has just embraced it all. And we're getting to see these wonderful performances because, they're letting the actress do more. She is capable of so much. And it's just, I really enjoy her.
I would love to get your thoughts on this. I don't really think we'll see a lot of the good, like the Spock we know, because the Spock we know is TOS and the movies and Kelvin Trek, right? I'm sure when Ethan Peck was hired, they said, "Hey, you're here for a season. I don't know how long you're going to be here for. You need to nail that human broken side," because none of us have seen this Spock before. Maybe a little bit in sprinklings, but really we've not seen.
Because they said this season we were going to see a different Spock, an earlier Spock that's not like the Spock we see in TOS.
Well, to be fair, he is more like the Cage Spock, because the Cage Spock is a lot more emotional than the rest of TOS. And of course, he's just I'm still reminded. The first time I saw the cage, I'm just like, wait, what? This isn't Spock. His eyebrows are too furry and he's really emotional. But like when they kidnap number one and the ensign and off the transporter pad, and Spock goes, "The women!" Everybody knows that.
He was very emotional because he didn't pluck his eyebrows that morning. So he's very upset. So he's just emotional at that time. I think that I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm wondering if we have a more emotional Spock at this day and age, at this time period. And then because of whatever he's experiencing, he becomes more suppressing of his emotions. He becomes more of the Vulcan side of himself, and he becomes less emotional over time. And then as time progresses and the time we get to the undiscovered country, he starts to go ahead and start accepting his emotions again and starts to have a balance between the two. It's almost like he can go from one end to the other, but not truly balance logic and emotions together until later in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fully agree. Yep.
I like it.
Okay. Real quick, Mutara sector. Did that stand out to anyone?
Yeah, the Mutara Nebula. Oh my gosh, there was a fight there once. And it messes up with your targeting systems and your view screen and your sensors and all that, but they beat Khan anyway.
Oh, yep.
So that's the sector where the Genesis planet is in the nebula there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Area.
So yeah. The nebula basically became the Genesis planet.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Little Easter egg there. Well, I think
overall great episode, I think.
What's that?
Overall great episode, I think.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So you this is this one of your favorites of the season? How does it stack with the rest so far?
Well, I'm sure it'll go down in history for sure, in Trek history, as the debut episode of our Ethan Peck Spock. So for that, I'm sure it'll stand out. I don't know if it's one of my favorite episodes. I don't know if it's Face of the Enemy caliber or Best of Both Worlds caliber for me, but it's a good episode that moves it's a good episode with a lot of some of the best moments in Trek, like Taylor's 4, seeing the Ethan Peck Spock, that Arium thing, whatever happens to that. So it's a good episode with a lot of great moments to me.
Awesome. And chat, let us know your rating of this episode as we're discussing what we think. So Brandi, what are your thoughts?
I also loved this episode. It had a lot of, again, very wonderful Trek moments. I liked seeing the bromance really come to a head, I guess, between Pike and Tyler. And they finally have come to a bit of an understanding about each other. And so they're not going to be constantly arguing. I'm sure they'll still disagree from time to time, but I think that there's going to be some progress there. So I liked that. I loved seeing Spock. I loved seeing Vulcan. I really enjoyed this episode, and the whole Talos 4 thing just made me literally scream. So yeah. So loved it.
Yeah, I love the episode. I can't say I loved it as much as some of the others this season. And maybe it's because, I had just a few drinks ahead of time and was laying down. So it's a different feeling. But, it just, and the way it started off where they're like, oh, well, the angel's from the future because it's got this futuristic exosuit and all this stuff. I was like, wait, just because it has a suit doesn't mean it's from the future. It could be another part of the galaxy. But okay, my headcanon says, well, they've been doing stays. They're picking up temporal anomalies and all this stuff and blah, 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 timey-wimey. So, okay, obviously it's from the future, whatever. So anyway, yeah, I would give it 9 out of 10 of Chris's smoke rockets that he does.
Nose rockets.
What's that? Or smoke, whatever that is. Anyway. Wait, we need Bruce's upright opinion of the episode. Oh, I thought at first when I read that, I thought it said uptight opinion. I was like, am I uptight? No. So yeah, looking at the other rankings here, what do we see? I see 47 out of 47 from Justin, and Dave gives it 40 out of 47. There's some 47s in here. 9 out of 10 47s. 3 out of 4 dimensional math. Christopher Hill says favorite episode so far. I see 5 out of 5 hot spockets, 3.5 alternate probes out of 5, 5 out of 5, 11 out of 10. Well, that's really good there, right? 8 out of 8. Okay, so yeah, really good. This is pretty consistent with all the other episodes we've had this season. We didn't do this last season. We didn't ask for ranking, so I don't know where other episodes from last season rank, but this season we're doing pretty good. And everybody, give us your thoughts on Shashank's dog too.
Yeah, my sweet crazy dog, General Zod.
General Zod, who's evil and trying to conquer the world.
Yeah.
So, Shashank, where can people find you online? I guess we kind of hinted at that earlier, but
yeah,
do that again.
For the record, I love the show. I'm so happy to be a part of it. I'm definitely going to not be jealous of whoever comes in the future and hate myself for not being there. But an hour is too short for the show. You should definitely do it maybe a little longer, because I think it's a good way to spend a Friday night. So thank you so much for having me, Bruce and Brandi. People can find me on Twitter. That's about the only social media I use. On @gutter_hero. That's GUTTER_HERO. I nerd out a lot. I talk about the comic books I'm writing. I talk about the podcast I'm doing, and I talk about Karate Kid and Star Trek, and just about most of the nerdy things in the world. And there's a podcast that I do with another amazing human called Barry DeFord, and the show is called Polytrex. We talk about the politics and culture in the real world, and we compare them to things in Star Trek and vice versa. And it's called Polytrex. It's on Twitter on @Polytrex. It's on the Tricorder Transmissions Network. I hope you guys check that out too.
Yes. Now, isn't Barry's in Canada, right?
Yes, I don't hold that against him though.
I know, but I think what we learned when we saw you guys in Vegas is Barry and Dan Gunther, who's on Larry Trex, they live in the same town.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that until that night. That was really weird. And it's not like it's some huge city or anything. So to run into each other in Las Vegas and didn't know they lived in the same town was kind of cool. So Brandi, where can people find you?
Nowhere.
Okay.
In the future.
You can find me on
I was waiting for you to do that sometime, and you did not disappoint me. So thank you.
Okay.
You can find me on Twitter at Brandywine12 or my alter ego Dark Amy Knows Rockets at Dark Amy Knows Rock. You can find me in the Babel conference lurking. Sometimes I'm really busy and don't get the chance to comment on stuff as much as I would like. And you can also find me on darkcornerpodcast.com, where I do the Dark Corner podcast with my hubby David, who is awesome and my best friend. And we've been married for we've been married for over 21 years now. I can't believe that it's been over 21 years.
Wow.
Man.
Brandi, quick question. David, right? Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are we sure it's David, or is it Time David?
It's Time David.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he exists on multiple realms of reality. So
you're welcome, Time David.
Yeah.
And maybe it hasn't really been 21 years. Maybe you've jumped ahead in time.
Yeah.
I don't need that thought in my head. It's already so broken, guys. It's so
Welcome
broken
to Life from the Edge, where we're going to be talking about light and shadows.
Excellent. So yeah, you can find me on all those places. So thanks.
Awesome. Yes, and you can find me, of course, on Literary Treks. I haven't been on Reading Treks yet, like Shashank has, but I'm waiting for Marty to make that call.
You and me both.
And then also Star Wars Report, I'm on that. So check that out for Star Wars stuff. And I'm on Twitter at Admiral_Rex. And of course, I'm in the Babel Conference on Facebook. But did the chat decide what Brandi is going to do for the closing voice thing that she does? Did that ever come up?
It did a little bit at the beginning of the chat, but I would have to scroll all the way back to the top to see.
That's what I'm doing now. Maybe you should do it as General Zod.
No, I can't do General Zod. I could do
it has to be which
the dog.
Zod?
Yeah, I'd have to do the dog. I'm not going to do that. So I do know that there was one that was suggested, and I can't remember who, but I'm 99.9% sure that it might have been Justin. No, Justin said that he wanted me to do it from the past, present, and future, and I can't reveal my power so easily. So,
okay, can I make a suggestion if you don't have
yes,
one? Since we're talking about dogs, why don't you, and I don't expect you to do it as a dog, but why don't you do it as a human who has a dog in front of you, where you go like, oh, look how good you are.
Oh yes, I can do that.
Okay.
I can definitely do that.
All right, Shashank, get ready. It's going to get exciting.
All right, can't wait.
Okay.
Oh, this part too.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Be sure to check out our Discovery coverage through the week. Live from the Edge airs on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Our commentary will be available as Treks from the Edge. We'll discuss your feedback on Postcards from the Edge. You can catch full analysis on the Edge main show. And join us for Notes from the Edge with our own Chris Jones for leaks between Discovery and the broader franchise. You'll find all of these in the main feed for the Edge and in the Trek FM Master feed. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Oh, yes, we would. We want to hear your thoughts on Discovery. Oh, yes. And you know where you need to go? You need to go to the Babel coverage. Oh, you need to go there. Yes, you do. Go to our listeners group on Facebook. And Amy knows who will collect your feedback for Postcards from the Edge. Oh, yes, she will. You can also find us on Twitter at Trek FM. Oh, yes, you will at Trek FM. Or send us an email using the contact form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show at Choose the Edge. And I would like to thank our associate producers. They are so cute. Look at those faces. Norman Silao and Tony Robinson and Thomas Paleo and Lisa Slack and Sean Berza and Richard Rutledge and James Muldrow and Cordelia Reutner and Ryan Malin, Chris Trabuzio and Brian Miloso. Yes. If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows going and even become an AP, visit Patreon.com for all the details, you cute little thing.
I need a treat and a nap. That was amazing. Way to go.
Yes. I just felt like somebody was scratching my tummy for a while. That felt good.
But hey, before we leave, guys,
yes,
just remember, share out ranks for that.
You had to. One more time. That was it. That was the last one. Hey, that's how we're closing out, everybody. We'll see you next week live, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube Friday nights. So check us out. Shashank, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. It was so
Thank
fun.
you. Can't wait to come back.
All right. Bye, everyone. Live long and prosper.
And keep calm and disco on.
All of this has happened before and all of it will happen again. That's a Battlestar Galactica reference.
I know.
33.
Bye. 33.